Basically, on any given night, we've got almost 50,000 homeless veterans on the street. That's an unbelievable number. Approximately 12,000 OEF, OIF, and OND. OEF is Operation Enduring Freedom, OIF is Operation Iraqi Freedom, and OND is Operation New Dawn. 12,000 of those veterans from those conflicts were homeless in 2010, and that number is increasing. So it's a real problem. So what are we doing? What is the VA doing to address some of these issues? So I want to talk a little bit about some of the programs. Harry, how much time do I have, by the way?
Much as you want.
Okay, all right.
But you're ready.
Okay. Let's see, so 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Let's go.
Food can't go stale.
Okay, all right. So I want to talk about some of the programs that are focused on homeless veterans, and then I'll talk a little bit about some of the other things that are in the news that the VA is doing to provide health care. And really, that's my focus. There could be other areas like the VBA deals with benefits and that sort of thing. I don't know a whole lot about that. My area is mostly with healthcare. So I'll, kind of focus on that. The National Call Center for Homeless Veterans provides free access to trained counselors, and there's an 800 number. If anybody wants that, I'd be happy to give it to you. It's 1-877-424-3838. And it's a call center where veterans can kind of call in, speak to a social worker, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, 24 hours a day. Okay? Talk a little bit about the VA's grant and per diem program. A VA grant and per diem program is VA funding that they provide to community programs to provide transitional housing and services to homeless veterans. Now, I know there's a couple of people here from some of the veteran service organizations. Have any of you heard of the Maryland Center for Veterans Education and Training? Has anybody heard of that in Baltimore? It's called McVet. McVet, exactly. So there's a few people who have heard of that. McVet is one of the community programs that provides transitional housing for homeless veterans. They've been in business for 16, 17, 18 years. And they provide, the VA provides some of the funding, and a veteran can go into their program. It's a military structured program that gives them an opportunity to get their lives together, okay? And it works. They can stay there for 2 years in their transitional housing portion of the program, go into their permanent program, the SRO, stay there for 3, 4, 5 years. They can take 5, 6 years to pull their lives together. And the vet will pay for them to go to school, provide everything that they need, find them jobs, and that sort of thing. Now, how do I know so much about McVet, working for the VA? I actually worked for McVet 13 years before I worked for the VA. So I had to get that little commercial in about McVet. And I'm putting this out because if you know of a veteran who's homeless and is looking for some help, that is one of the best programs that you can send them to. So keep that in mind. They're located in Baltimore, Maryland. There's a website, www.ncvet.org. Check out their website, okay? But it's a grant per diem program that's designed to provide transitional housing and other services to homeless veterans. And there's a lot of community programs that provide that service under the GPD program. Another one, a very big one, is HUD-VASH. Has anybody heard of HUD-VASH? Okay, HUD-VASH is a combination of HUD, Housing Urban Development, and the VA Supportive Housing. And they provide permanent housing and case management for homeless veterans. So let me talk a little bit about the HUD-VASH program. It's very extensive. It's a joint effort to move veterans out of homelessness and into permanent housing. Not transitional housing, but permanent housing. HUD provides housing assistance through housing choice voucher programs to Section 8 program, okay? That allows the homeless veteran to rent privately owned housing. And the veteran will only pay a maximum of 30% of the rent HUD-VASH pays the other 70%, okay? In addition to that, they're gonna get ongoing case management services to help them maintain that housing. As of September 30 of 2013, HUD had allocated funding to local public housing authorities to provide more than 58,000 vouchers. So they're really making an impact. Bringing it home a little bit, Baltimore County has 225 HUD-VASH vouchers. Now, most of those have already been filled. There are a few openings left. So if you know of a veteran here in Dundalk, Baltimore County, right? Right. HUD-VASH might be an option for them. Baltimore City has 305 vouchers, and there's only, at this point, 10 openings left, 10 vouchers left. Cecil County has 95, no openings. Eastern Shore has 15, no openings, for a total of 640 vouchers for Baltimore City and counties within Maryland. Baltimore County, here's a significant, Baltimore County will be receiving 25 additional vouchers within the next week or so. So there will be some more openings. Now, it's not instant. It takes about 3 to 5 months to get somebody housed once they're interviewed for a HUD-VASH voucher, because the departments have to be inspected. There's a lot of things that have to happen in order to get that veteran stably housed through the HUD-VASH program. Okay? So that's another program. Another one is healthcare for homeless veterans. And they perform outreach to identify homeless veterans and assist in accessing healthcare and benefits. Compensated work therapy, TR, is another program to assist homeless veterans. And they provide temporary residential and work for homeless and at-risk for homeless veterans. They work approximately 33 hours a week, a lot of times like in the hospital, working as patient transporters, working and as reception areas and that sort of thing. The VA will give them a $732 a month payment and provide a place for them to stay, residential. Domiciliary care for homeless veterans provides biopsychosocial treatment to homeless veterans. And finally, the best program for homeless veterans is a new VA initiative called the Community Resource and Referral Center. And the reason why, anybody have any idea why I think that's the best program?
It's in the community.
Gives people the information they need to find the help they need to get.
Because it's my program. So therefore, it's the best. Brand new. We don't even have our building yet. So that's how new we are.
Well,
But
do
the
you have
community-
your act together?
We do.
That's the important
We have
thing.
our act together.
You have funding?
We have the funding,
Oh.
yes. And there are actually 29 community resource and referral centers across the country now. 17 of them are new. Baltimore is one of the newest. And it's a one-stop shop where homeless veterans can kind of come and get all the services that they need in one spot. So on my staff, I have psychologists, I have social workers, I have nurse practitioners, I've got peer support specialists, all on my staff. And then we're going to have community partners that rotate through my program to provide services right there. Maryland Commitment to Veterans, VBA, some of the veteran service organizations will be rotating through. Social Security, SOAR, will all be rotating through my program to provide services for veterans right there on the spot. In addition, they can come in and take a shower, get a meal, wash their clothes, sit down and play chess or pool, hang out, okay? If they are homeless and on the street, my outreach worker will locate them, bring them into the resource center, and we will make sure that they have a place to stay that night. So these are the kinds of services that the VA is providing right now for homeless veterans. Okay? Yes, sir.
Tony, how are you verifying that these are homeless veterans out on the streets, that your outreach people are going out and trying to seek and going?
So how do we verify whether or not they're veterans, number one, right? Is that what you're saying? Right. So he has a laptop that he takes out with him that will allow him to plug in the veteran social security number and search for some data. If he's in our system, that will already be, you'll be able to pull that out. If he's never been contacted or connected with the VA services at all, we will be able to get him connected. Now, here's kind of a unfortunate thing, that the VA will only, and most of you already know that, will only provide health care services for veterans that are eligible for VA care, which means their character of discharge. So if you have a veteran that has a less than honorable discharge or a dishonorable discharge, they're not going to be eligible for VA care. And my program is not going to be able to provide direct services to them. No VA program will. However, we will refer them to some place that does.
Question for you on that, what is the classification of VA for a veteran? Because there are a lot saying you have to be a combat veteran, or you just in a period of time in service of this and that, so.
You had to have served for 6 months or longer, not counting for training purposes, in order to be considered a veteran. So if you were in the reserves and you were in basic training in AIT for longer than 6 months, okay, and then you went to do your reserve time, you're not considered a veteran. Unless your reserve unit was activated and you served in combat. 1 day, that's all it takes. So that's the VA classification on whether or not you are a eligible veteran.